All right, we ready?
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
I'm actually not ready.
What is up,
Okay.
villains?
Shut up. What's up, villains? Sup, villains?
It got worse, Vince.
Sup, villains?
Yeah, sup, villains. What's up, villains?
6, 7. What's up, villains? Welcome to the Rules of Villainy, episode 106. I'm Villain Vince, joined as always by Villain Andy, the mayor of Lorcana, Brad, and today we have a special guest from the Rules of Villainy competitive team. We've got Teacup Chip. How are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
Ecstatic.
Friends.
Doing
Excited to be here. Excited to have Chip on for the first time. It's been killing it out,
I'm
managing it.
super
Sorry.
excited. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
good.
Glad to be here.
Yes. I got a question right off the bat for our special guest here, Vince, if I may have the floor.
No, go for it, please.
What is the story of Teacup? Is that I've never asked you.
So, back in the day, when I was playing League of Legends online, I was playing with Andy's gonna be super happy. I was playing with a group of friends, and one of them had a girlfriend that they brought into the Discord call, and he was introducing everybody, and he said, "Oh, this is my friend Chip." And she goes, "Oh, like the teacup from Beauty and the Beast."
I love it.
And
I was hoping
immediately, all of my friends were like, "Oh, you're just Teacup now." And I tried real hard for probably 6 months to make it not be that, and then I just leaned into it and embraced it. And now there is whole swarms of people that just know me as Teacup. So
Hey, that's what happened with me with the mayor, as Vince can attest to. I tried to push that off for so long, and then finally I was like, you gotta embrace it.
I've
You
had
gotta
people
embrace it.
ask me what the mayor's real name is. I like
Have you-
GLPs and stuff. They're like,
Well-
I met the other guy. What is the
Here's
mayor?
the
What is
thing.
his name again? And I'm like, Brad. Like, of course.
Here's the thing. When somebody gives you a nickname and everybody's already associated with that, the more you resist it, the more it becomes a thing.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah,
here's the thing. If there's a
100%.
name you don't want somebody to call you, the strategy isn't to be like, don't call me that. The strategy is to be like, yeah, mate. Okay. I'm Teacup. And then they'll be like, oh, that's not as cool anymore because you like it. And then it'll just go over.
I just-
so that's what you
See,
gotta
but now
do.
we're playing Disney Lorcana, so when I sit across from an opponent and they're like Teacup, and I'm like Chip, and they're like, ah!
Yeah. It worked really well. It's worked in your
It
favor.
just-
much
it
much
came
in the
full
same way.
circle.
Yeah.
And I just imagine Chip showing up with like his League of Legends name is changed to like the Chipster. Like right after, he's like, "Hey guys, what's up? I'm the Chipster now." And they're like, "Okay, Teacup, cool." And he's like, "No."
Pretty accurate to how it happened.
All right. Oh, well, let's shall we get on to Underworld news here? So this weekend we had a pre-release weekend. So that was pretty great. We did a whole bunch of pre-releases this weekend. Anybody have any quick shout outs they want to talk about with this weekend?
I'll give a quick shout out to Brad, not that Brad, the other Brad, Brad 2. Quick shout out. As you all know, obviously, I was 18-0, undefeated in sealed for Wilds Unknown, a record that honestly may never be broken.
Somebody bleep that. Somebody go and correct that. And
and then,
producer.
However, in this set, I lost my first sealed in over a set now. But shout out to Brad for playing a very good game of Disney Lorcana and taking that dub. I know he was very, very happy about it. He turned to Miko and Pocahontas, and I just had no cards in my deck that could interact with evasives. And I was just like, oh yeah, cool. I'll just slowly, the slow attrition to just lose 2 Lord a turn.
Yeah, honestly, I'll tell you what, that is by far one of the things that I found in this sealed is that like if you didn't get evasives and your opponent did, you were SOL. Like there was no I was in a game and it was like the Meta Mim. I think that thing quested for like 7 lore before I finally found an answer for it in my deck. Like I found the one evasive I had. I don't even think it was evasive. I think I had an alert character that took care of it. And I was
An
like,
alert,
let's
yeah.
go.
I think there's an alert duty.
Yeah.
But there's you guys didn't
Launchpad.
check in any kind of like removal, like piercing attack and other like fire the cannons like stuff.
Yeah, it'd be
appears
real
to be-
great if I got it.
No, you're
okay?
right.
Okay.
I had an out to that Pocahontas Miko. I only had to draw my 1 2-cost 2 damage action and my 1 3-cost uninkable 2/5 Darkwing that deals 1 damage. If I had gotten those
right.
2 single cards in my
Sure.
cards, you're right. I absolutely could have outed it. Otherwise, though, I was pretty cooked.
Yeah. But also shout out to Brad too. He gave me these promos that he had because he knows
God,
that
I'm
I
so
collect
cool.
them.
I'm so cool, guys.
So also shout out.
Join us next
to
week
that.
as Brad 2 replaces Brad 1 because apparently he's the greatest. You got any stories of Brad 2 being awesome for you, Chip?
Brad is
I love Brad too.
yeah, he's super cool. I love when he comes
Yeah.
around. Love playing with him. Having him in the community is just fantastic. So shout out to him.
But I do you think we should chat a little bit about some of the things that did happen over the weekend, particularly in the parks and in London as well. Not great. It seems like that wasn't a great experience. None of us went and did that. I'm glad
Thankfully.
we didn't. I know you and I, Andy, had chatted potentially about doing the Disney World one. I'm glad in retrospect, like given everything that happened, that we didn't do that. But because it really seemed like it was a bunch of chaos. It seemed like they sold out of the playmats very quickly. The collectors, the heroines collection seemed to last a lot longer, but there's a lot of photos going around.
Ooh,
Yes.
Brad got one. Nice.
But there's a lot of, I think fair to say scalpers that took advantage of this. And we're now seeing those products on the aftermarket at quite a significant markup. I think what I would say to folks out there and stuff is like, don't let the FOMO get to you. My hope is that these collector boxes will eventually end up on the equal or EQL thing they do at some point in the future, so that you can get an opportunity. There's obviously no guarantee. Ravensburger hasn't said that, but I would be somewhat surprised if these 6 cards were just locked to this one release for forever. So, hopefully that happens. I definitely but I don't want to talk as much. Like, what are your opinions on all this?
Well, it seemed like an absolute nightmare. Like, I'm glad you guys didn't go down, and Emily was entertaining the idea of going down too, but it was so bad that people who don't pay attention to that stuff, like to us, we see this kind of stuff all the time, like, because we're ingrained in the community and in the upcoming events and what to expect. I was getting messages from people like Dave at game night, probably doesn't pay as close attention to Disney Lorcana as we do, but he was messaging me about like what's going on down in Florida. Like actual media outlets were covering the madness that was happening, and it's just absolutely insane. It breaks my heart a little bit that that's the kind of effort it takes to get these kind of products when there's so many better ways to get it in the hands of people who actually want them. So. Disappointing, but I agree with you. I hope that it does come back around and gives us more chances to get them in the future.
Huge positive though. I did see a video, a reel from Rebecca Quests. So if I can find it, I'll link it below. If not, you're probably all already following Rebecca Quests. So just check out her socials. She did a reel talking about how at the latest like pin drop or something else that happened at Disney since this initial release, right? So that was Friday. There was maybe, I guess, something on Saturday or Sunday like that. So they've acted very quickly. They now are giving out people wristbands as they enter the parking lot, which they didn't go to details. I don't know if they're like RFID wristbands or they're just like numbered or something like that, but they're giving out wristbands to everyone as they go into the parking lot so they can wait in their car in the parking lot. They don't have to line up. Everyone's basically getting a number you get a ticket and you go in order of your number. So there's none of this 2 lines. One person told me to line up here, another person told me to line up here, and now all of a sudden we're just, clashing with lines and stuff like that. So, it's a short, I guess, if you will, where she talks about it, but it is really cool to see that they're just sort of like instantly like, okay, maybe we improve our system and let's start working on this. So I would hope by maybe the next drop that this situation, at least from a crowd control perspective, I don't think it's going to get any better from like a scalper perspective or like a reseller perspective. They're all still going to be there in line. That's their job.
You're gonna have
quote
that.
unquote.
Yep.
But I think the biggest thing we as a community or Ravensburger or Disney can do is that crowd control aspect, right? If you can nail that, then
Yeah.
Vince and I were talking about going to Florida to wait patiently in a line and get the product. Although
I would not be patient if all that was happening.
Although I do know Vince is very good at walking through, rambunctious crowds. Right? If you know, you know. Okay, if you know, you know. So.
That's some deep lore there. Maybe one day we'll tell that story on Rules of Villainy After Dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other thing I would just say, and I hope Ravensburger is seeing this and Disney is as well, because I think the park stuff is really a Disney thing, not a Ravensburger thing. But 100%. I think what could really work out in favor is like, I get the idea that Disney wants exclusive products for the parks, but I think what would be better for the game and the success of it and to reduce the kind of scalpers behavior and stuff is, instead of things just being exclusively to parks, maybe have an exclusive window at the parks and then later release it more widely so that folks have an opportunity at least to get it. And I think that reduces, like, there's folks that are going to want it on day one and they're going to want that FOMO, and maybe they'll go and they can afford to pay. I think, I'm seeing some of these collector boxes like $500 to buy them now. But I think, most folks are willing to wait if they know, hey, I'm going to have an opportunity 6 months from now to buy this, at retail. And so I think that might help this a little bit, and just keep things like the park promos. I think the promos and the events they do there are totally fine. I think, it's like, I recognize I'm not going to get all the promos. I recognize that the moment I'm not spending 10 grand on the 2020 or whatever the first release of
the launch,
the D23 launch was, and I'm definitely not going to get the cruise ship promos, I don't think, because those are a couple $100 each at least. So like, fine.
I have something I want to bring up, but I want to ask Chip, do you have any thoughts on any of this before we close it out?
I agree with what everybody said. I think safety for the people that do show up there is first and foremost the most important thing. I do think that Disney and Ravensburger will figure out better ways to handle things. I would like to see some sort of online launch, even if it's, a little bit of product or something where they set up queues just to give everybody a shot. Having promos, again, like Vince said, for the parks is great, but with certain products like this, I think having a more widespread release is ideal for everybody involved.
More money too.
Yeah,
true.
And
more money.
I think
Disney.
it might have been our friends Jackalope Spam or Solo Falcon. Somebody in our Discord said when this all was happening over the weekend that an idea that kind of stuck with me was the idea that, like, if you want this stuff in the park, have an online thing, as Chip and everybody just said. Have your online raffle and make it store pickup. Disney Springs is free to go to, so you can go there and pick up your product. Give them like a 6-month window, because not everybody can just go to Florida, right? I'm just saying that's just an arbitrary number, but like,
I guess
they would
plan
know
Disney vacations. Then it kind of gives this clock of, hey, I have 6 months to plan a Disney vacation.
It's just, I'm just throwing out this, this idea of, like, it could be as easy as you won the EQL, you won whatever online, you pre-ordered it, you're ready, it's ready for pickup at the store. You can come get your promo. You have this long to do it. It gets people at Disney Springs, it gets people in the parks, possibly if they're planning whole trips around it. I think there's something there. I know it's a lot to ask of people. It's a lot easier for people who live there, of course, but I think that there's something there that gets people in your stores and picking up those products too. That kind of like the idea.
Not a bad idea.
But
storage
yeah.
would be probably the first thing that
That's
someone
true.
complain about.
That's
I don't
true.
want to
Yeah.
store your
Yeah.
crap for 6 months, but another option, like Vince said, make it time dependent. Make it $100, right? If you go to Disney and Disney Springs on launch, you get this for $100 and you get a fancy promo. But in 2 months' time at the end of the set, or in 2 months' time, or whatever it is, couple amount of time, it's going to go online for sale. A ton of them. It's going to be $150, maybe $175, right? But that kills the entire scalper market, right? Because everyone knows that they're going to be able to buy this, maybe more if they're not at Disney, right? So you reward people for being at Disney, and they get it early and they get it cheaper. And I don't know, it all comes back to these things. They're just printing money, right? Every one of these boxes that Ravensburger makes, they're going to sell. It would be very, very hard for them to overprint these and not make gobs of money off them. So
100%.
take my money, right?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're seeing that in the market. So hopefully things will normalize and it won't be terrible, and we'll be able to find product at reasonable prices everywhere and stuff that we want, and everything will be going. But I think we're going through another wave of hype, which has its pros and cons to the game. Next up here, we've got the rules of Villainy is going to Gen Con again. Let's go.
Let's go.
So if you're going to Gen Con, come see myself, ROV Andy, ROV Kirsten will be there as well, villainous Kirsten, and also the captain of Lorcana will be there as well, Captain Jimmy. So come say hi.
Captain Jimothy now.
Captain Jimothy.
Did you not see him in the Discord? You guys know about Jimothy,
I kind of
right?
saw that, and I was just like, I'm gonna scroll on.
Shout out to Jimothy.
Captain Jimothy.
All right. And then, Brad, you want to take this next news item here?
Absolutely, I will. For the first time in season 4 of the Illumineers, the ICL. I'm sorry, the way that I had it planned out in my head did not come out of my mouth. The Illumineers Championship League, ICL ROV is involved. We're going to be on there. Our competitive team.
We did it, baby.
It's going to be on there for the next several weeks, trying to take down that championship with a bunch of good friends in the community. Can't wait to see how far we go on that one. Yeah, we're talking about decks and everything now. And
we're on the map, baby.
Come check out the streams, root us on. We will be posting all over our socials when our scheduled matches are, as well as check out the other matches. So you know what ROV is up against here. Brad camped out on Luke's front lawn for over a week to get us this spot on the ICL. So we
came out and played on
that was, by the way, just for our listeners, that's Brad won, the mayor, not Brad.
The mayor.
Oh yeah, Brad won, right.
Yeah,
the mayor.
yeah.
Make sure we're
by the way,
clear.
listeners, my name is Brad, for those who don't know.
The mayor sent his finest of lobbyists to the ICL to get us on board here, and we thank Luke and everyone over at the ICL, all of the great staff and crew for having us over there, and we're super excited. I'm even more excited because I got people like Chip on my team.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great time.
All right, and then our last piece of news, which I think might be one of the most important pieces of news, Brad.
Oh, still me. Yeah.
After his performance in the last piece of news, Vince.
No, God.
It's because I wrote ROVX ICL, and then I don't know what I was doing.
Gray
and then
bowl
I just
glass. I mean, black cauldron.
Anybody who listened last week or pays attention to our socials, we announced a new 5K coming to St. Louis at Impact Gaming Center the weekend of October 9th, 10th, and 11th. All 3 days, a big 3-day event. It's going to be a 5K on Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a 1K on Sunday. And there's going to be side events all weekend long, too, encouraging you to come on Friday, get some early registration, and play some on-demand sealed, on-demand draft. I believe it's going to be a box to the winner of those is what how it was explained to me. We're going to get more details for that as time goes on, and we're hoping to make it the biggest event, Disney Lorcana event that St. Louis has ever seen. Registration for that is going to open up in the middle of August, exactly 2 months out from the event. It'll be around August 9th, August 10th. Registration will open up on the Impact Gaming Center website. I'll have a link to that down in the description below. Yeah. And so excited to put this on for you and partner with Impact because they are incredible. And come help make it big. If you can't attend in person, watch it right here or on the Impact Gaming Center Twitch stream, where we'll be streaming it live, and it's going to be some of the best players that we have in the community, and hopefully some that are traveling into play. So definitely check that out.
Yes, and while you can't pay for it now, you can still sign up on the RPH. Am I right in that? We'll have the link to the RPH event below, so you can sign in there, and show that you're going there. We're gonna have, I believe, a cosplay. We're gonna have at least a cosplay
details. More details for the side of stuff will come later. The big thing for you to know is that it's a total 6K weekend, 5K main event, and a 1K runner-up event, if you will, on the
second
Sunday.
Chance,
second chance.
Yeah.
There we go. Second chance. There we go. Come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I think you'll enjoy the space as much as we do. And also, the location's pretty great too. A lot of hotel options.
Should we get a wacky whaling inflatable arm flailing too, man?
We have a blow up Mickey Mouse.
Oh,
I think we have a blow up life-size Mickey Mouse.
Interesting. All right. Well, the details to all of this will be in the description below, because we're going to move on. Because what Chip's here for, he is our deck testing guru here for Lorcana. So we're going to start off here, Chip, with one of the first decks here, which is this red-yellow boosties.
Yeah. So I want to preface this by saying I had 12 decks just queued up for this segment. We won't get to all of them. These were just ones from tournaments this past weekend. We had 2 CCQs, both hit around 100 people. This format, I posted on Monday on my Twitter. This format is probably going to be the most diverse format that we've seen. It's going to be super compelling. I think that it's going to change week to week. Just because we don't talk about something today doesn't mean that it's not good. I think that we are going to see multiple decks come out of we're not just going to have multiple ink colors that are good, like previous formats where you had Blurple and Baja and Dogs, but we're going to see multiple archetypes come out of each ink pairing.
Yep.
There's probably 4 different Amber Emerald decks. There's 4 different Amber Ruby decks. There's multiple Purple Steel decks that are viable. Just what a time to be alive and deck testing in Disney Lorcana. So the first deck is, Amber Boosties. This was Humble, who won the Warehouse 51 CCQ.
Shout out to Humble. He's been on here before.
Huge shout out to Humble.
One of my favorite Illumineers.
Less of a shout out to Warehouse 51. I heard they
Whoa.
We don't have to get into that. Yeah. There's a lot of controversy
that
around
CCQ
that.
had a little bit of drama around it. If you haven't seen it, look it up on Twitter. But we are super happy that Humble won, and it went, the real prize went to a good home.
Yeah, this deck is really cool. I think that it's coming out of last set, one of the most put together decks. You've got Scrooge McDuck, the 2-drop Ghostly Ebenezer. That's great into all of the more aggro aggressive strategies. He paired him with Ares God of War, where you can attack multiple things a turn, using that ability to ready. We have Liquidator in there. And then your top end is just really, really strong. Maleficent Dragon. We have Sully for some new recursion. Getting
Sully.
things back like our Olaf Snowman. Sully, the new boss.
Yeah,
Big
both
Sully?
Sullys. That
Yep.
cycle is absolutely insane, especially when you shift it, because you're always going to get the 5-cost Sully back to just
Yes.
pull the shift back to it. So it's unending. You
Yep.
cannot get rid of them unless you put them in the Inkwell or back into the deck with like Chernobog or something. It's disgusting. Once Sully hits the board and that shift is there, when you know you're playing that color combo, good luck.
That cycle
Good
is nasty. I
Yeah.
played a little Sully, shifted big Sully, took out a Scuttle, the 5/5 Scuttle,
Sure.
played the Sully again, got the big Sully back, and then they played another Scuttle, and then I did the exact same thing to their other
Yeah.
Scuttle, and I was like, yeah,
I lose nothing
this
here.
recursion is great. I do want to bring up, you mentioned the Olaf and recurring that. The Olaf, I've tested pretty much this build. I don't think I've made too many changes, if any at all, really, to it, because I respect Humble as a Ruby Amber player. So I want to try and give all of these cards a fair shot. I love the Olaf and like the action builds and stuff. I feel like this just isn't the deck for that, right? I feel like you aren't, like, every action in this deck is only played in a specific scenario, like for a specific reason, as opposed to a lot of the times we've seen other Olaf decks where a lot of the actions that were played that you're expected to see in the discard were like, yeah, I always want to play Develop My Brain. Like, of
And a
course I'll
lot
play
cheaper.
Vision.
Too.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
always
sure.
going to just be playing these regardless of the scenario. Whereas, you know, Criminal Mind, the Pumpkin, the Medusa No Body, and even like, you know, Ohana means family. Like, you're never playing those just for the sake of playing those. You have to have the thing that they're meant to
Yeah.
do ready to do. I found Olaf to be ink like 90% of the time, and I really feel
It
like
depends on when you pull
Yeah,
them, right?
I think it kind of depends, right?
Yeah.
And I think also the other thing is like you're not getting him for as cheap as you are in that action deck, but I think you are
No.
likely getting him cheaper, like even just a few ink cheaper. And plus, you've already got a top end here with the Maleficent Monsters Dragon. So, like, the ink to get there, I think, is not like totally unrealistic just to play them. You know, and it buys you that pirate's life kind of when you need it, essentially. Well, the one, you know.
Yeah,
So-
I think
scenario not getting
he
more.
evens out the game at the
Yeah.
top end there. I think when you are
we're really just playing
facing-
Olaf as a pirate's life with a body.
pretty much. I would.
Yeah,
I would.
I think so.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
again, if we end up wiping the board late, we could play Sully. We can recur the Olaf. It keeps you in those long grindy games,
It's fair.
where you might need to take their lore down just a little bit to stay in it.
Yep.
This deck's also got some really good removal in it. I think Red Alert is going to be super important in this upcoming meta for handling the new Lilo and Stitch.
Yup.
I think
is
that
annoying.
we also have access to World's Criminal Mind, Greatest Criminal Mind, which is good for taking out other things. This list only runs one. I have tested with other things that have upped it to higher numbers.
What has 4 Gastons too, right? So it's
Yeah,
5 Criminal Minds essentially.
yeah. We have the Augustin though, who's really good for
Helping with that.
combination. Yep.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be solid. I think that a lot of people are going to play it. It's going to be one of those decks that kind of tries to have answers to everything.
So,
Yeah.
Another, because this, I apologize if we're dwelling on this deck too long. I know, but it is the first deck here, and it is a really good one, I think. And this is probably my favorite deck because I think Webby's Diary is one of only a few cards that is a true.
Why? Why though? Why? Andy?
Because it's such
Why?
a
Tell
true
the
draw.
listeners why.
It draws cards, bro. It's one of the only. It's one of the only cards in this game that is like just consistently can draw you a card. Like it is one of the easiest, most consistent ways to draw cards in the game. And you know, it even works in other ink colors, but we won't go there. My one thought I wanted to bring up here with you, Chip, and I haven't even brought this up with the competitive team yet, or really tested it at all, but we're going Augustin, Criminal Mind, Gaston pushes everything up, right, to try and hit with those targets. Have we considered Della's no Gaston, no Augustin, and things like Della's Moon Lullaby, perhaps even Lost in the Woods, and then you could play cards like Headless Horseman, because that also synergizes with what is it called? Keep Out? I don't even know what the other one is. The 4-cost Medusa No Body.
Red Alert.
Red Alert, that's what it is.
Yeah.
2319.
Yeah.
And I feel like all of that synergizes really well. And it potentially even help with Ohana, because we don't have the Surfer Stitch, who was my favorite Ramber, Ohana target. What, 6 is the biggest butt we've got now? Most of them are 5 or less. Except Scrooge, obviously. The infinitely scaling.
Yeah, I think everything else is 5 or less.
Yeah. So
well, no, Augustin.
Right, yeah. So
Augustin.
6 is an Augustin, but then everything else is like 5 or less.
Everything else is 5 or less.
And Augustin, in theory, shouldn't really be challenging, because he should be giving his support to something else
100%.
to then challenge instead. But so yeah, I wonder if this deck could potentially be built around the shrinking and removing instead of the increasing and removing.
It could, and it might not be a bad idea. I would need to adjust some of the uninkables, maybe. Let's see, we're currently at like 11, and sometimes we just get jammed with big uninkables. I definitely think that it's a path that this deck could go towards, though.
Yeah, the Sully combo is interesting. I think for me, what I really, really like about this deck as well is that I think there are a lot of packages that are very modular, that you don't have to play, that you could swap out as the meta develops. Like you said, this is going to be a very diverse meta. As the meta develops, as you expect to see different decks at your local metagame, you can say, look, I don't want the Sully package, right? Maybe I want the Shrink package instead of the Grow package. The Medallion Weights is a really interesting card that I love, and I tried, but again, it feels like ink most of the time. Ares is one that I know a lot of people really liked with the boost that I hadn't tried, that I do think is actually really, really nice with these boost cards. And obviously it synergizes with the Medallion Weights. Even like the removal, like you said, can be swapped around. How many Greatest Criminal Minds, how many Gastons. Pumpkin feels worse lately, right? I mean,
yeah, I
Lost
think
Genie.
Pumpkin's in a weird spot.
You need it for Dumbo, and we got the new Genie if they play that.
You don't need it for Dumbo though, because you've got Red Alert, right?
You do, yeah.
Yeah, so there's not like as I think about all the testing I've done, like evasives have not really been a problem. The pumpkin might be something that's
Peter Pan and
we'll talk about evasives later, but
maybe it's Peter Pan and Tinkerbell. But then you have Gaston, and then you have Gaston and the Criminal Mind package, and
Well, let's move on to another deck here, which is B Squared, who was the winner of Van CCQ in Mississippi. And I've been a long time fan of B Squared. I'm like the original OG on his old podcast that he had, like when nobody was doing content creation. So I'm glad to see he's still doing it well in the game, and really got his invite.
Yeah, no, B Squared is great. This is it's a very safe list. It's a very consistent list. I love all of the shift lines here with Louisa, the Maleficent, and Diablo. It's kind of the closest thing that we have to Purple Steel of old, where you're trying to play one drop, maybe get a 2-drop Violet Par, use your Strength of a Raging Fire. We can use Morph, the new purple Morph, to get a shift target down, sing Thunderbolt. You're just out-tempoing them. Yeah, this list is really cool. It's really neat. He played the Pluto Steel Champion, which I think is a really good card into the Ramber boosties, as well as the new item deck that we'll talk about in a little bit. The Kevin in the room. But
we need to talk about Kevin.
we'll talk about Kevin. But yeah, I think this list is really another one that I'm interested to see how it develops in the future, because there are other purple steel decks. I wonder if this is one that sticks around, or if it was just a great early game meta call, because it's consistent and not trying to be too flashy and just out tempo people.
So that's actually that was kind of the thing, is really, that was the strategy going in, to find a very consistent deck that just did kind of well and played well, I think, into the early meta. I mean, I think what this shows is that there's a good shot that Amethyst Steel is back as a super competitive deck. Whether or not it ends up, like I think you said, still is this variant the answer? I think early on, probably not, I think is what we could say. But yeah, I mean, you look at this deck and you look, they're never not having ink. 4 uninkable cards in a 60 card
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, wild. Like, this is such a great deck to have, to see. And I really like seeing that Louisa Madrigal Confident Climber in this deck, which is a card I don't think we've really seen played a lot. And so, and I know we go on.
I was gonna say she fits perfect in a deck like this too, because Amethyst Steel has always been earlier iterations of it have always been challenge heavy decks with Calhoun and Hook and whoever else. You're getting lore that way, and having Louisa Madrigal come out there, the one drop comes out there and just sits there waiting for the big one, unless there's an opportune time to do something with her otherwise. But then all the damage moving manipulation with the big one can change the swing of the game, from what I've seen in the testing that against it. I haven't played this version of it, but she can be an absolute killer when she shifts out and starts moving damage to her.
Yeah, well, and I honestly, I'm curious to hear what you have to say, Chip, about this Maleficent and Diablo card. I think this card is good.
I love this card. I love Maleficent and Diablo. I think that it also, with Louisa, cracks a really important number in that it's 6 power, where it can challenge into like the Lilo and Stitch again that we see coming out of Amber Steel. It having 5 toughness is also really good. This deck just draws so many cards, and getting one of these down super early, you can play it on 5 through either a Maleficent or a Morph, and if you've out-tempoed them and they don't have an answer to it quick, you're just going to bury them in card advantage. It's very, very good.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes to show you talk about card advantage, and there's a card this deck doesn't have, which is the book. It doesn't have.
It has a book. It has a guidebook.
It has a book.
It's Rain Book. Yeah, it's Rain Forward.
I'm sorry, I missed it. I missed it. My bad. I'm wrong.
So yeah, I think it's interesting. I'm trying to think of like how this deck is sort of compartmentalized, and then I just kind of realized that like Amethyst Steel is just kind of like 2 piles of like good cards that you can just kind of like. There's very minimal part of this deck that I'm like, well, that has to be played, right? But I think it is really interesting. The deck is called Ellie No Mo, like Eleanor No More.
Is that what that means?
Yeah, I think Ellie for Eleanor No Mo. And I also want to say that he worked with Mo to build this deck. Is that right? He worked with a couple pretty well known folks
Yeah.
from Lorcana.
Mo was one of the people. Yeah.
Mo, yeah, okay. So he worked on this deck, and it just goes to show that, like, you know, good players are good players, even if you think, like, we haven't seen B Squared in a while, right? And you might think, oh, he's gone, but no, he knows what he's
Brewing.
doing. Put a couple good heads together, but yeah, the Louisa, the Cheshire are both to get rid of Eleanor, right? So they ping you 1 damage, and now you can just like collect all this damage and like move it back to them. So I think that's good. Lexington seems a little weird to me. I feel like there's probably other at 3 cost, and again, evasives. I'm not sure how prevalent they are, although it does check like a Peter Pan Tinkerbell. But then again, they just don't turn sideways, and that's what your Thunderbolts are for, or like an Angel or something.
It's also a 2-for-1 in a Dumbo, right? He can hit Dumbo, take 3 damage, move that 3 damage over to Louisa, and hit another 3 body with that. Yeah.
It holds damage, yeah. Again, I don't know what else there is at 3, but that would be one. You know, Lexington and Genie as well. Genie's another one where that card's really in this deck just there to gain lore, right? You're not bouncing the cards underneath him back. You know, he's a 3/4. I'm sure there's better stat lines at 3. And then I know a lot of people really like this Shift Violet card. Draw a card, discard a card whenever this character, whenever you play this or another hero character, you may draw and discard a card.
There's not a lot of heroes in here.
It's 5 cost 4/5 essentially. 4/4 resist 1. The heroes are just the other violets, right? Not even Pluto. Poor Pluto.
Yeah, I thought Pluto might have
Poor
been.
Pluto. No, he's an ally.
So you're like Violet 1 cost and Violet 2 cost are not bad cards, right? But you could also say like there's the 2 cost Diablo, right? That now is a target for a shift target. It's a 2 cost 3/2 Diablo that gives your Maleficent characters resist 1. So now your 1 cost is a 2/3, and your 2 cost is a 3/2, and you have 2 shift targets for your Maleficent and Diablo. And so there's room to go there. The morph is really nice because now you've got 2 shift 3s.
I think though the one thing you're highlighting though, Andy, here is that one of the things I think again this deck was really trying to do is just stay consistent and not try to add like additional complexities that it didn't need. And I think that's ultimately why it landed on this. I think there could be better strategies, but I think once you add those other strategies, you risk making the deck a little bit weaker in certain areas without hitting those very specific combinations.
You're just taking out the other combinations, right? You're just, you know, substituting out instead of the Violet and the Violet shift. You could add more into the Maleficent Diablo shift. I'd argue that makes it more consistent, but you know, either way, I get your point. Like the deck is very consistent, and I think my original point of just like Amethyst Steel seems like you could probably fit a lot of really good cards in here.
Yep.
And the only cards I think like are probably must plays are the 3 non-characters: Strength, Thunderbolt, and Guidebook. And maybe you could also argue Demona. I won't even argue for my boy Hades. I love Hades.
I'm kind of surprised you wouldn't say Hades.
I love Hades.
I think I would add.
Should be, but yeah.
I think I would add one more actually to that list, which is Cheshire, the cat. I think the cat is at least some combination of the cat would be in there.
Yeah, it is interesting. No additional exertion. I wonder if that is part of the consistency thing, Vince. Like 4 uninkables is incredibly low. I will not be convinced that 4 uninkables is the new norm. You won't do it to me. DKP already convinced me that 8 or 9 uninkables is a lot. And I mean, I used to have 20 plus in my deck. Okay.
Producer, clip it. We'll get back to you in there.
We can't keep reducing it. But, you know, ISIS as an exertion tool or any of the other
100%. I think for sure there are things
maybe interesting.
But I think with that, actually, one thing that Chip talked about with that Pluto Steel Champion is because of this deck, which is the Kevin control deck that I want
Kevin.
to jump to real quick.
Kevin.
We gotta
Yeah,
talk
this
about it.
is. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the bird in the room. For the low price of like $4.65 on TCG Player with your partner.tcgplayer / ROV.
We
Let's
got our
go.
decks
You,
doing it. Let's go.
you could annoy all of your friends and have all of the fun in every Lorcana game by playing this items deck. This has been my favorite deck so far that we've seen. I've been testing it a lot. It's very annoying because it only runs a Kevin. I'm running the version with 4 Lyle, but there are some versions that don't have Lyle and instead have the Zootopia location. There are some decks that are taking out the Kevin also and running 0 characters. So at that point, like we're blanking so many cards from your opponent's deck. I was practicing against Kristen the Grape with this on Monday, and she was playing her Steel Song, and she was singing her songs to damage her own characters so that way she could get draws off of her aerial. Because she's just holding 4 cards in her hand that she can't do anything with. This deck ideally wants to get down an early Buzz's Arm, which reduces the cost of the next action or item you play this turn. It uses that in conjunction with the My Adventure book. Pay 1, and exert it to reveal the top card of your library. If it's a non-character card or a character card named Kevin, you can put it in your hand.
So you just
Otherwise,
draw.
put it on the bottom.
Just
So
draw
you just
one.
draw your deck. Yeah, you just draw one.
Yeah,
Just
We're
one.
drawing one
Yeah.
every time. We have Strange Things, the song from last set, up to 2 characters can't quest until the start of your next turn. Draw a card. We're basically just stalling out our opponent until we can get to 8 ink with either a combination of Buzz's Arms and regular ink. We Raging Storm the board. Our opponent cries a little bit. And then everything that they play from then on, we're using Inscrutable Map to reduce the lore pips that it has. We can use Potion of Malice to put damage counters onto things. In a late game, if you have like a very wide board, you can Malicious Mean and Scary, and then use that with Potion of Malice to give all of your opponent's characters Reckless. So I have had games where I've stalled people out 3 or 4 turns
Just
where
sit
they're
there with their
just
lore in their hand, no idea what to do.
like, oh, that's neat, man. Real cool. I'm going to give everything Reckless, and then while they are watching you give their characters Reckless, you're using My Adventure book to draw all these cards.
Yeah.
They see it coming, they just can't interact with it.
Yep.
That's
The deck
I would
is-
imagine why. That's why. Sorry to cut in.
No, you're
One
good.
of the Steel Song lists that you listed had a random find 'em Flatinum
Yep.
in the list, and I'm wondering. This has to be
You just
the one
lose.
reason because I was wondering why you wouldn't play like the Donald or some other item removal in that if you're really worried about a diary. But if you need to get rid of all of these items at once, that's your your fail safe there to in that matchup. But oh my gosh.
So
yeah, because
this deck is-
I've seen matches, and it does seem like very much like this. Your opponent gets to like 16 lore fairly consistently, and then from there, it's just like they can't do anything else because you've got 12 items on board.
yeah, I mean,
It-
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say it feels very much like, have you ever seen there's a popular YouTuber. He does like this series where he challenges other like science and technology YouTubers to do like the egg drop challenge. But they get like $5 and they have to go to like the dollar store or whatever. And so this very much feels like that. Like I have Mary Poppins type bag. I have Merlin's carpet bag, but the things that I'm pulling out are all kind of like wish.com items. Like they're not the greatest, but like if I just like dump all of this crap on the table, I like it's enough stuff that I can kind of like almost stop you from pretty much doing everything, right? Like I've got all kinds of gizmos and gadgets. None of them are great, but together they can kind of do a thing. My biggest complaint with this deck is that your win condition feels like to me is Kevin, which you then after you
The
control the
Inkcaster,
game,
right?
you played Kevin, you just continually quest, get Kevin back, play him again. Next turn, quest, get Kevin back. The problem I found, like you said, Kristen was just sitting there with all of her removal in her hand and played it on herself so she could draw cards. As soon as you play Kevin, you now have given them the one thing that all of the cards in their deck that they've been collecting and not being able to do anything with can actually interact with. And so your Kevin just kind of like always gets insta nuked. And so Brad's right, you have the Inkcasters. But what I found in my testing, what I found happens is that I get 1 or 2 Inkcasters at like 40 cards, 40, 40 cards left in the deck. And then, I play it, and then I play 2 cards, and I draw more cards, and then I get another one, maybe at like 30 cards left in the deck, and I'm at like 14 lore with 2 Inkcasters on board and like 15 cards left in the deck, and I'm like sitting there trying to do the math. Can I play 2 cards a turn? Because I have to draw to be able to get the cards, to play 2 cards, to be able to. Oh my goodness! And
It's a balancing act. It's a balancing act for sure.
It has a very, very weak win condition, in my opinion.
But it seems fun.
It is very fun. It is very hilarious.
I just want to
preface.
preface it seems fun for the person who's playing.
For the person
it
playing it,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
less fun for the person on the other side of the table, who, in my experience, makes them rage.
Really? I feel like
this is honestly, I'll just say it right now. I think this might be the first deck contender, and I'm not advocating for this. Please don't do this. But I think this might actually be the first deck that causes true violence in the game.
No, I think your opponent starts off confused and eventually ends up upset but still confused. Like, what happened to me there? And why did that happen? And I think that's probably part of why the deck is good, because you go into the game too thinking like, the heck can I do against this? Like, how do I change my game plan in this? It's not going. I can't even comprehend what happened last match.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's since we talked about Kristen's Amber Steel deck, let's talk about the Serious Goose Amber Steel deck.
That's the deck I was talking about with the flatten.
So it's not a silly goose; it's a serious goose.
It's a serious goose.
Serious
yeah,
goose.
Of course.
Super
Honk,
serious.
This deck is another deck, I think, like Ramber Boosties, that comes into this set pretty strong. It was already kind of strong last set. It was held off by Blurple, I think. Blurple is not around like it was in previous sets. I refuse to call it dead, but it's not what it was. And it's definitely not going to hold this deck back. So we end up with a really good, consistent strategy. This deck plays 2 cards that I think can... this version is not playing Grandmother Willow, but I think Grandmother Willow and Akud create some of the craziest unfair play lines where you just get to play things that you shouldn't be able to play super early, and you look at your opponent and say, okay, figure out how to deal with this. And a lot of decks can't right now. So I think that we end up... this deck can snowball out of control real fast. I love to play with the new Lilo and Stitch card. I do not like sitting across from the new Lilo and Stitch card. I think if this card had any of the if it had one of the abilities and maybe one less lore, I would be cool with it. But it quests for 3, it has resist 1, and it has support. This card does everything. It's a 3/5. There's not a whole lot of stuff that hits for 6 consistently. It's just so hard to deal with. It also
we really need
enables
Zeus back.
it also enables some real early world's greatest criminal minds. This deck's running 3. It's with the support.
Yeah.
You have the new Maylin Lee card that acts like Ariel of old, except for she can also find herself. So you're whiffing less. We get to play Gaston, Stitch, the Snowboarder Stitch to keep a draw engine going. This deck does everything, man. It's going to be really good.
Honestly, I think Server
It's
Stitch
gonna
is
be
just
really
in there
good.
because he costs more. Like
What's in there?
Surfer Stitch or Snowboarder Stitch?
Oh,
Sorry, Snowboarder
yeah.
Stitch. I feel like
Mhm.
you said like to keep like for your draw engine, but you got Ariel for a draw engine. You've got all of your best cards essentially are also drawing you a card like Maylin and a Kood, and like
It just keeps it going, man. It just keeps the ball rolling.
yeah.
I'm surprised by the lack of the chief. I guess you don't really need
Pow
a
Pow?
bodyguard with all the resist. Yeah, Chief Pow Pow. I know that
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, between resist and removing all of our opponent's characters, we're normally pretty solid.
The Lilo is the
This
interesting
deck's
one. I guess shift, right?
This deck's gonna be a contender all the time. You should know what it does, know what it's playing. It's just gonna be there all the time.
Yeah, it seems pretty good.
Seal Song's back, baby.
Yeah. This deck has a couple options too. Like the Steel Lilo is an interesting one, but there's also a new 2-cost Lilo, right? 2-cost Amber 2/3 support Lilo, which is fits perfectly fine. Like that's a perfectly playable card in this kind of deck. I think they went with the more aggro 1-drop Lilo that benefits from the Stitch.
They don't have the 2-drop Lilo.
We even have the 2-drop Stitch, right? Isn't it the 3/2 that gets plus something?
It's like plus Challenger when there's a Lilo on board.
Yeah, I think he goes up to like 6 power maybe with it, or 5.
Yeah,
5 or 6.
But there's
he's a 3/2 Challenger too.
Yeah, he's a 3/2 Challenger 3. Yep, 3/2 Challenger 3 with a Lilo in play. 2 costs. So that's like a perfectly playable option, I feel, in my opinion. For something like this. You probably don't want to go as high as like Surfer Stitch, right? Like 7 cost.
You don't have Blurple Ink in you anymore, so yeah, it's harder to get up there.
Also, all of the Steel Song, like anything that's ever been played in Amber Steel, like you could probably consider it in this, and it could potentially become valuable. One I'm thinking of is Goliath. I've seen some Sapphire Steel lists that have been playing Goliath as well. That sort of just constant end of turn dock, if you will. But yeah, a lot of these Steel Song staples, we could play the 2-cost Lilo as well if we want to go a little more aggro. Probably works well with the aggro Snowman Lilo that gets the additional lore for the Stitch. You play the bundled up Lilo.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Yeah, get some extra.
It's so good.
Get some extra lore. This has a lot of options. I also feel like we may even be sleeping on Amber Steel like songs, like which songs are available. I was building Ruby Amber songs the end of last set, beginning of this set, and there are some that are just kind of like borderline good. This growing pressure? Chosen opposing character can't challenge and must quest during their next turn if able. Draw a card.
Yeah.
That's like not terrible. There's a 2 cost that gives something bodyguard and draws a card. Again, that seems borderline playable. Actually, did the bodyguard one rotate out? The bodyguard one would have rotated out. Don't listen to me on
I think
that,
it
guys.
did rotate.
Sorry. There is still the chosen character can't be challenged until the start of your next turn, but that one doesn't draw a card. All characters gain resist +1 until the start of your next turn.
Resist is back, baby.
Resist. You want to talk about resist? Let's talk about some battle bots.
Actually, that's a great segue into the
Oh,
last
God.
deck we're going to be talking about here, which is the
bots,
or as R&B calls it, bots.
This is a fun one. Chip, you want to take it away?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really fun, consistent, again, pretty consistent deck that just has some wild play lines. It can take unfavorable trades and be okay because we have our man Syndrome out for revenge. Shift 4, whenever you quest returns a robot character from your discard to your hand, then you may play or shift a robot character with cost 8 or less for free. It's insane. I admittedly do not have as much testing on the deck, but I have been on the receiving end of it quite a few times. And this deck goes 0 to 60 pretty quick. Things will spiral out of control. A lot of these bots have resist too, which just makes their big bodies hard to challenge into. It just runs away with it.
Yeah,
It plays big dudes with the quest for 2 with resist, and yeah.
They are hard to get rid of. That resist, the resist on the 6-drop bot, the resist on the 8-drop bot, both of them resist 2. One of them has to have a card underneath it, but they're 6/6, 8/8, quest for 2, and just massive. It's impossible because I've been playing Amethyst Steel Dwarfs, and it is next to impossible to take these out cleanly. There's a lot of damage moving that I have to do with the Cheshire Cat to try to clean up the board a little bit. But the things that this does is absolutely insane. With the 1-drop bot shifting into the 2nd-drop, the 4-drop uninkable bot allows you to basically fire the cannons on something, and since it's dry on the shift, can challenge into it, basically take out both of your 1s and 2s there, and then Syndrome just absolutely are always recurring the bots doing that and playing the 8-drop for free. They'd forget about it, man. The first time I saw him drop an 8-drop robot on quest was just like, what do I do with that? I am in no way, shape, or form in position to deal with that big bot for the rest of this game, if at all, right? I don't run Zeus's. Strength of a Raging Fire is going to require 10 people on board because of the resist +2.
There's 5 robots in the deck. All 5 Omni droids, 1, 3, 4, 6, and 8 costs that synergize with the Syndrome. It is running the same Violet package, same Cheshire. Morph is great given all of the shifts, and then Incrediboy is great because you could shift on for Syndrome, plus the 1 lore. I guess there aren't really any hero characters. Violet kind of synergizes with it. The one card I find very interesting, and it makes me feel like RMB play tests against a Blurple Honey player a little bit too much here, is this Colors of the Wind card.
Yeah.
It's a 4-cost draw 2 on average. Right,
Yep.
because it's still flipping off the top, right? So at most it's draw 3.
At most,
for this particular iteration,
for this deck,
they're not playing
4.
any duel.
He's not playing any duel.
Not playing any dueling.
So I wonder if there maybe would be a better card. Is this really the only other unconditional? I just want to draw cards.
I'd be
I think
interested to hear what he says about it.
I'll be honest. I
Successful.
think the one thing this is missing, and I think we've seen this in actually a lot of the decks we've seen today, is if this Kevin deck becomes a thing,
Item removal.
is
Yeah.
item removal, like more item hate, if you will. You
Yeah.
know, so I think like a deck like this, actually, I think you could probably slot in a 1 or 2 of Pluto here, and that would be helpful. Maybe you slot on a 1 of I find my platinum. You know,
There's like a million
and
item removal too that you could choose from, right? We got the new
yeah,
Mulan, Floodborn.
Yep.
yeah,
There's
you do have the
there's
new
an
Milan. I
Aladdin.
just don't know like where that
Not a great
fits
card,
in.
but
Yeah,
I just
think
was
it's kind of a
trying to
bad
name.
card.
There's more. I'm
No,
sure
no,
there's
100%.
more, right?
I was mostly trying to name the ones that I think are
Actually
acceptable to
playable,
put
yeah.
into to a deck. I mean, I don't really love I find my platinum because I think it's really only useful in that particular one matchup. But I think if that matchup ends up being somewhat problematic, you're going to see more folks use it, and then the meta will shift. And
I mean, I find
yeah,
my
It
we
does
see that
also
happen
hit
a lot.
Webby's Diaries, which is really
Yeah.
good too.
And to be fair, I find my platinum is like also, even if you're only banishing one item, it's only 4 cost, right? Your other
It's a
choice,
song too,
Pluto.
right?
Yeah, your other
Yeah, it's a song.
and your other choice,
Yeah.
Pluto, requires him and another steel character. Benja is still meta playable. The Donald Duck,
Mhm.
Brad, I think brought that up before. 5 cost 4/6 is also a very reasonable option, and it's a hero, so it synergizes slightly with.
I saw that. I saw Garrick flip that Donald Duck in the top cut of Indianapolis and was like, "What the heck card is that?"
Yeah.
It worked. It worked. He was playing Adrian, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was the matchup. But yeah.
So we don't have time to dig into any other specific decks right now, but I don't know, Chip. Besides these decks that we've seen, what is another deck that you're thinking?
The other deck that I've been testing quite a bit of is the Circle of Life deck. It runs a lot of the low-cost singers, the new Malin Lee, Angel, and then you use things like Todd Cleverfox to draw and discard. It also runs the Gaten Moliere, the 4-cost with evasive that when he quests, draw 2, discard 2. So essentially, you're going to try to get things like Stitch, Carefree Surfer, Milo Thatch, and some are running Prince Philip into the discard. Use Circle of Life, bring them back. The deck has some incredibly crazy play lines and does a lot of unfair things that your opponent, again, just can't really interact with.
Yeah, I have a version up for the chart for listeners.
It doesn't have the gating,
but it doesn't have the gating.
Yeah.
This also has
There's a lot of
15
different
uninkables.
versions.
That's
Yeah.
in contrast to the other decks we look at. This has too many uninkables, so don't run it. I want to see. Get it out of here.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Chip. We'll have to have you on, and if again
later
to
this
give an
set.
update.
Anytime.
Yeah,
Anytime.
folks. But let's move on to constituents corner here.
All right. Our first and only question from Lucas asks, early on in this set, Amber appears to be the dominant color with almost every color pairing with it being meta. Why do you think this is? And do you think dual ink teams push certain combos over the edge? Let's start with you, Chip, as the guest.
I think that Amber's in a really strong spot. I think between again, Grandmother Willow and Akud, you have the ability to kind of cheat stuff out and play not unfair, but do stuff off curve that will get you ahead. Paired with other color combos like Steel for good removal, it just has a lot of consistency and ability there to go big. I think we got a lot of really good Amber cards this set as well with the new Lilo and Stitch. I don't know that all of the new team cards are going to be super good, but I think that the ones that are the Lilo and Stitch, the Maleficent and Diablo, even the Rapunzel and Flynn Rider, I've seen some people messing around with that. I think the ones that are good are going to be real good.
Yeah. And we talked about Sully earlier, which
Yep,
answers
Sully and Boo.
Lucas's question here that the that Amber Ruby pairing there, I think is one of the more dominant ones right now, as we've already talked about, and I really can't get over that recursion that Sully has, and yeah. What about you, Andy? I know you probably have thoughts.
I mean, I think Chip's absolutely right. Like, there's a reason Sapphire was so dominant for so long, and why every single Sapphire deck or any deck that paired with Sapphire did the same thing. It cheated out bigger characters faster than you. Lorcana, if you go back to day, one, if you were playing back in the set 1 days, it was very much kind of like playing War, right? The card game War, where you're just like flipping over a card and seeing whose is bigger, right? Like, you're just playing very much on curve, saying like, is my 3-drop better than your 3-drop? Is my 4-drop better than your 4-drop? Since then, we've gotten cards that sort of punch above their weight class, if you will, and that helps sort of balance that out. But in reality, we're still only 2,000 cards in, and now with rotation, we're down to just the 5 newest sets of them. And so, getting to do a 4 or 5 drop thing, getting to do a bigger thing earlier in the game is incredibly powerful, just by the nature of doing that, regardless of whether the thing that you do is even more powerful than that, right? Like, even if you don't get the best 5-drop or 4-drop out on turn 2, you can get a 4-drop out on turn 2, which in and of itself is incredibly powerful. And while I do think the non-reusable Lantern and Willow are reusable, but like a Cood and some of the less reusable cheat a character out thing or cheat a thing out, while I think that's worse than pure ramp, right? Because ramp is the most reusable. Like, ink is able to pay for everything. The best cheater cards, if you will, are these early, are these amber cards. They synergize very well with each other in that sort of early package, that Angel on 2, the Willow, a Cood, and then like whatever other ink you're playing, you've probably got something good to play for cheap early. So it makes sense why amber is that other color. It also has the board wipe, right? So now we've put like
Wild,
the
right?
one unconditional board wipe in that color as well. It is a little balanced in that none of the ramp of amber helps you ramp to the board wipe, right? Willow, Akud, even Lantern don't do that. But it is.
His arm would like a word.
Well, that's not amber though. That's not amber. You have to pair it with something
Yeah.
else, right? You have to pair it with but yes, that's why Buzz's that's why that deck is good with Buzz's arm. And,
Yeah.
In fact, I've played that deck and I have passed. I've done other things on turn 7 with 7 ink or with 7 ink and 3 Buzz's arms. I've had like 3 Buzz's arms and just been at like 5 ink being like 3 more turns, guys, and I'll get to the board wipe. Don't worry, we'll do it. And I'm just like, so stupid. But so yeah, we've put a lot of the good stuff is in amber for some reason. It's really weird, but yeah. The only thing about dual inks I'll mention is I'll give a shout out to Mickey and Minnie. I think that card is still potentially playable. I think there's a top end Mickey Mini deck, like a control one. Yeah, I think there's a control Mickey Mini deck.
This one?
I think there's also an aggro Mickey Mini deck as well.
For our audio listeners, Brad just showed his not 1 but 2 enchanted Mickey and Minnie cards.
Yeah.
Very fortunate this set so far.
But yeah, that Brad, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I just think Amber's dominant because DeCandio works for Ravensburger now. That's all. That's all. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, Lord conspiracy theory. I love it. Let's go.
I will say the Kevin control deck. I didn't mention
Is
this
his.
before, and it is DeCandio's. I have seen a few people on the Twitters say that basically it's a meme deck. That at heart it is a meme deck, and it isn't actually that good. Don't get fooled by the Kevin deck. I don't know if I'm ready to grab up arms and join Team Kevin Control. But I do know that DeCandio has a history ever since starting working for Ravensburger of just releasing like a playable, it's like a deck that you play and you test and you look at and you go, that's really cool. It doesn't ever break the meta. And I think one of these days, DeCandio is going to. I think he's releasing like the seed
Nuggets.
of
Yeah.
of the ultimate meta deck. That like one of these days, someone is going to crack the DeCandio code and be like, "This is the deck. That's it. We just needed to change 3 cards in DeCandio. He was telling us how to do it." And so,
The whole time.
Yeah. So,
what I see is Andy, what you don't see behind the ROV flag is just a board of like red string lining different
Charlie
cards to each
on
other
Always
with
Sunny.
like DeCandio's photo
I go
in
to
the
the third
center of
floor.
it.
and I'm looking for DeCandio. There is no DeCandio in game development. The whole floor is a ghost town.
All right. Where can folks ask questions, Mr. Mayor?
You can ask in the comments below. You can find us on the socials at Rules of Villainy, or join us on our Discord where we have a growing community, and you can ask in the Constituents Corner channel, and conversations ultimately end up starting there before they actually make it on the show. So check that out. We'll have a link in the description below.
All right. It's everybody's favorite segment, my favorite segment, Villain of the Set.
Is it of the set or of the week?
The week. I'm sorry. Apologies to Gantu. We have Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, Fast Friends. This is a 6-cost inkable, 5 strength 4 willpower, storyborn team hero fairy, shift 4 with the ability you can fly. Your characters gain evasive. It quests for 2, and the art is by Alice Pisoni. So I think this was a powerhouse card in the limited format over the weekend. I think like you get this card, you win this battle.
Unless you're playing Maggie. Maggie, I went to Collector Store on Friday night, and Maggie shows up. She doesn't play a whole lot anymore. She's got a whole lot of life things happening or whatever. She shows up for pre-release and has a good time. Such a sweetheart, such a great player. I sit across from her in round 2 at table 1. The stakes are high. I have this card out there, and she's seeing her cards like a lot of people for the first time. And you know how Maggie is. She sees a card. She's like, whoa, that's so cool. She loves the art. She loves just everything about it. Brings a smile to your face. I lay this card down, and she goes, whoa, I have nothing to deal with that. That's so, wow. What am I going to do with all these evasives? But she hadn't read every card in her hand yet. Because in her hand on the very next turn, as Andy alluded to earlier, she had the Gaston. The Gaston that comes out and hits anything with the 5 strength to take it out. I thought I had the game on lockdown, but no, she was hitting bomb after bomb after bomb after that. But in any other case, this Peter Pan and Tinkerbell comes down in a limited format. As Andy said earlier, there's not a lot of evasive answers unless you have your own Peter Pan and Tinkerbell to make your characters evasive too. You have a wide board and that comes out. I mean, what do they do after that, man? This card was absolutely sick in every other game that I played that night, but Maggie found a way through it.
Yeah, I mean, they play this, and you don't even have to have a wide board. The outs are the Robin Hood, the 4/5 alert gives all your Floodborns alert Robin Hood. That plus another Floodborn, obviously. But if they just don't turn the Peter Pan and Tinkerbell sideways, like what are you gonna do? You need to hit it with 2 different damaging abilities, or you need to hit it with the Gaston or the 7-cost Sing Together Dragonfire, right? So it's, I don't know, it kind of sums up my feelings for this set in limited, in that there are a lot of these cards that are good, but also, like, if you it just it adds to the luck, if you will, or to the randomness, if you will, right? Like, we're not just betting on like red or black at the roulette wheel anymore. Like, everyone's betting on numbers, right? And then, like, they got the Peter Pan Tinkerbell green 00, but you got, like, a much worse number or whatever. I don't know how roulette works, guys, but it's,
Clearly.
I was
but
with you at the start, man.
but it's just like,
and then it went straight. I was like, I'm
doing? Yeah.
I'm as confused as you are.
it's just like, if they have this, even if you only, I had some, what I thought, Captain Jimothy and I were sitting across from each other pulling packs at game night with, I don't know, there was 145 people at that limited sealed or something. It was packed. The place was
Biggest
packed
one
to
of the
brim.
set, man.
Packed to the brim. And we were pulling cards, and we looked at each other's pools, and we were like talking to each other, and we were like, should I just go home? Right? Like, should we just like go deck test with Chip and Kristen and them? Like, these cards are very unplayable. I had some truly atrocious cards, and I found in round 2 against Heather, I found that it doesn't matter how bad my cards are. If I just play Peter Pan and Tinkerbell and then never turn it sideways, and they don't find one of those 2 singular removal cards that hopefully they pulled in their packs, and then hopefully they find, I just win, right? Like, kind of
Yeah.
GG's. And so it's
There just aren't a ton of evasives that answer this. I'll tell you one though. There's a match I got kind of supremely lucky in at Wild Growth. Was I had quested, so my opponent Tom had Mailing Lee, the 2-drop Amethyst character. When you
Yeah.
shift this character on top of her, the character gains
Becomes
evasive until the
Yeah.
start of your next turn. And I was like, oh, cool, they got that character. I didn't think anything of it. Quested with my Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, my entire board. He shifted the what was it? The Mailing Lee Red Panda on top of it. Now that card gets evasive because of the card under it. He forgot and did not challenge my Tinkerbell and Peter Pan. And I forgot that card, you could do that too. So both of us forgot. At the end of the turn, he resolves the effect, takes Mailing Lee off. And I was like, well, that card's got to go. Like, immediately. Yes, the card underneath it stays evasive.
Yeah, until the start of your
once you have Peter Pan, once you have this card on, all your cards are evasive, and that's not a hard card to deal with now once all your other cards are evasive. And so that I was like, I was like, man, I got real lucky that did not happen. But yeah, so
yeah, the Mailing Lee combo is honestly one I think I'm more okay with existing in limited. It's another one of those that, like, is almost an insta-win combo, right? Like, if they don't have an invasive answer, you shift on that Mailing Lee, you quest for 2 or 3, because both of the good shift options cost 2 or 3 to shift, and quest for 2 or 3 respectively. And then you pass turn. And then you shift and quest and pass turn. And you shift and quest and pass turn. And you just like, it's just like this infinite system of being able to do that. But it requires 2 cards, and
it's also a legendary. What are the odds that you're gonna get?
The other one though, there's the 2-cost shift. It's I don't know what its rarity actually is. But it's a 5-cost 5. It's an uncommon 5 cost, 5/5, temporary red panda shift 2, Sun Yi, red panda
Sun
spirit.
Yi.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, I think going back to this card here, it's like the reason why this particular card is the Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, I think, is the villain for limited, is not only do you have those shift targets, but you also get that evasive just by playing it outright. So it isn't relying on that shift to give the ability out. And it also gives itself evasive, which is really great too. So I'll be interested to see. I think this card might actually even be good in the metagame in Ruby Amethyst deck as well. So, we talk about evasives maybe not being a big problem earlier in this podcast. I wouldn't be so certain with a card like this, in the game.
I was waiting until we got to this bit to talk about it, because we were talking about pumpkins and everything earlier. Yeah, the pumpkin and the Gaston are definitely, this is a target for both of those to keep the pumpkins in your deck. So a lot more manageable outside of limited, and I could absolutely see it being a big protect, because not only does it just evasive hard to deal with, but you absolutely running Dumbo in this deck too. So now every card is drawing you a card as well as soon as you drop this card, right? So there's a lot of cool things you can do with it. It does cost a lot, but
in limited
you can
too,
shift it.
it's nasty because you have a 1 cost Peter Pan, 1 cost 2/2. You have the Tinkerbell 2 cost 2/2 quest for 2, and then you also have arguably one of the better cards in the set, the 2 cost 1/3 Peter Pan. That when you play this character, chosen opposing character can't ready at the start of their next turn, and so plenty of shift targets for it in limited. And honestly, those are all Ruby Amethyst cards as well, so they immediately can slot as potential options for my core deck as well. I think we have the what is it? The 1 cost 3/1 Tinkerbell in Ruby. That is also, I think, very playable.
Just come out and be threatening, never turn sideways. you know that you got to be expecting the shift.
Morph exists. Morph is Amethyst that we can play as well. I think the 5 cost Tinkerbell Temperamental Fairy, the 5/3 that exerts something with 2 strength or less, is potentially also another. One of the common threads of a lot of the decks we talked about today, I've noticed, is that a lot of them take advantage of these cheap shift cards, right? We saw it with Robin Hood back in the day, Tinkerbell, even further back in my day, when we walked uphill both ways to the LGS. But, good cheap shifts are nothing to, ignore, right? You shift for 3 and you've got a 5 cost character out there that comes with a lot of benefits. So
good.
Plenty of good
Chip,
cards.
any last words?
No, I think everybody touched on it. I also want to shout out Maggie. I played her in the TCS. We were both 2-0, and I also got blown out by Gaston. And then she proceeded to drop the 3 questing Malin Lee, the 5 questing Mickey and Minnie, and she went from 0 lore to 20 lore in like 3 turns. It was bad.
Yeah, Maggie 3-0 on the night. Yeah. Super great.
So the artist here is Alice Pisoni. She has 56 total cards in the game. I believe there are 41 unique cards, 1 epic, 5 enchanted, 1 iconic. The iconic was the Minnie Mouse. She's done the Circle of Life enchanted, the Minnie Mouse Musketeer Champion card, and then the Olaf, the Alice Growing Girl, and of course the Peter Pan and Tinkerbell of this set. So she not only did the base art,
might be the best enchanted this set. Honestly, it's so good.
Really interesting. It is a good enchanted. I'll say that for sure.
Do we need to bust out the ranking enchanteds without knowing which one comes next, Brad?
Not this week. Not this week.
I think you put that at 5. She also did the Cindy.
That wasn't honestly. That wasn't on
we should have Chip do that as well, so that he can rank enchantments.
Chip, by the way, got the we had a Ryan Miller signed Sorcerer Mickey, Playful Sorcerer that Chip won in the Grapes tournament. Alice Pisoni did that art as well.
Yes.
Yep.
Craziest part about that card that Chip won. You got that graded, am I right? And
I did indeed.
And that card came out of Ryan Miller's breast pocket on his Roosevelt shirt, along with whatever else was in there. You know, like a pen, a letter opener, his sunglasses, his
bar.
readers, you know, like calculator,
Did-
15 other cards. And you got that graded.
Dole Whip.
What did that grade come back as?
It came back as a 9.
A PSA 9. That's insane.
Did they
Ryan-
authenticate the signature too?
They did authenticate the signature.
That's awesome. But just so you know, when Ryan Miller hands you a card out of his pocket, it could still be a PSA 9. Don't worry.
It's at least a 9. Yeah.
I was like, this man is just walking around with $200 cards in his lapel pocket. Like, there you go.
All right. Well, thank you, Chip, so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Like we said, we will hopefully have you on in a little while to give us an update on the decks that are going on in the meta as well. But in the meantime, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter at ROVTcup. Send me all your crazy, wild deck list ideas. I'm in the ROV main Discord. You can find me there, Teacup. Yeah, thank you all for having me. It was absolutely great. Anytime that you want me back, I'll be here.
Always, man. You were fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
So we hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you're joining us on audio, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
And if you're joining us on YouTube, which if you're not, you really should. We have a lot of fun over here. Sure to hit that like, subscribe, ring the bell, check out all of our content. Deck Test Tuesday, the Meta Report with the Mayor, the pack openings with Vince. Vince, he was talking. He's filming things after this, and then all kinds of stuff coming out. So check them out. The pack openings, maybe even a potential live stream in the future. Vince holds product for like a year and a half. He'll be doing pack opening streams of this set in 2027.
2050.
So be sure.
Listen, I have a trove reserved from Attack of the Vine coming out in 2050.
He buries them in parts of his apartment as like time capsules to be opened in 15 years, and then so be sure to ring the bell to be notified of those future live streams.
I did find a pack of Shimmering Skies in my backpack the other day while at the Game Night League. Anyway, sorry, Brad.
No, I was going to say, speaking of time capsules, we understand your time is valuable, so we appreciate you spending some of it with us. If you'd like to follow along as we plot our devious plans, you can find us on all the socials at Rules of Villainy. We also have a growing community on Discord, which you can join with the link below.
Until next week, stay safe, fellow villains. Be wary of wannabe heroes who want to disrupt your villainous plans. And as always, remember the rules of villainy.